Page 34, The Man I Love. 4/4 time, 2 sharps in the key signature. We're in the key of D major. Make sure you can do the scale for D major. And while you're at it, you just as well go ahead and do the scale for B minor, because it also has 2 sharps. I got videos on the scales, go do that. Well, at least 1 octave up and down. 2 octaves would be better, but at least 1. Let's cover this carefully. The rhythm isn't a problem, bunch of eighth notes. So at the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 3, 4. Isn't this fun? That's about all we're doing here, kids. Measure 6, you're coming down. 1. Then you got half notes, so that's even more fun. Okay. Go down to the bottom of page 35. This is measure 15. We're here. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. And they want a second finger now on the F sharp. So you just come up a little bit. Because we got an F natural, is why. So it's the last 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Here. Left hand. We have an A, a D, and an F sharp. If you don't want your hand up in here, you can use that. I'll leave that up to you, whether you do that. So remember, a dotted half note is the same as 3/4 notes. Just memorize that. It's always, doesn't matter what the time signature is, it's always equal to 3/4 notes. So whatever a quarter note gets, this gets 3 of them. It's a whole measure, almost. Then F natural, and both, remember the natural is good for the rest of the measure, so those are, and then a C natural, and then measure 4, an A, B, and a D sharp. Measure 5 is a G, B flat, and an E. I think we found the interesting part here, however you choose to finger it. And then a G, A, and a C sharp for measure 6. And then finally, broken chords. 5/7 chord, and we're going to do that some more. Put the hands together. Here. Right there. When I play the 4th beat, the left hand comes up, so that note is by itself. Now, measure 6. There, so it's just a half note now. Do that some more. Page 35 is very similar to page 34, sort of, maybe a little, kind of. At the bottom of page 35, that's measure, what, 15, you're here. As far as articulation, there isn't any. You just connect everything. Just connect it. Rest, you have rests in between. You have to lift up. The left hand you connect as best you can, except of course you got rest there too. You can't really connect the chords, it's okay, but do the best you can. Dynamics to the melody, it's the right hand. Whatever you think moderately soft is, keep this soft. Don't play it super soft, because at least the first one, don't. Because when you start a song, when you start any piece of music, that first note is so important. It's got to be there. It's got to be solid. No matter how loud it is, it's got to be solid. So a lot of times we say, all right, I got to play this really, really, really soft, and you come in here and it almost doesn't sound. Well, you can get away with that later on in the piece, after the piece is gone. But when the piece is first starting, that first note needs to be solid enough to be heard. So if you need to, go ahead and play the chord, the first one, moderately soft also. Just make sure don't play it loud, because it'll die away. And then you can bring it down to very soft. So that you're just starting the song off, you might start a little louder. And you're staying in that range. You're not going to stay exactly moderately soft for the melody. It's in that range. You can put in swells. You can feel this. Da, 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 da. See, I put in a little swell out there, here, and then come back down, and then I came down here. So it started here and went up, and then it came back down here and I went down. Not exactly a swell, but that's, if you feel it, that's how it is. Don't play them all the same, it's just mechanical. Just give it to a computer if you're going to do that, it'll do it fine. But feel these eventually. Well, that's getting into interpretation. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to where I was at, wherever that is. Measure 9, you go up to the moderately loud. The left hand's still soft. And then a measure 14, you're going to come up, you put in a swell here. Right there. Softer, soft. And now the last two measures, we'll talk about those. The love, that note, the dotted quarter note in the right hand, that's melody. That's going to be moderately soft. This is very soft. And these eighth notes in the right hand and the upper stem are going to be very soft also. All of that is extra. That love, that ended it. And at the end, both hands are the same, and that's very soft, really. So we want to hear a difference between the first note, love, and all these eighth notes. So the listener doesn't think that's still melody going on. It's not. Speed, this is slow. One, two, three, four. This is nice and slow. Now they've added some pedal, not everywhere, because really the pedal is just providing some contrast. This is clean here. We can't pedal this, we'll mess up these eighth notes, we'll smear them. We don't want to smear them. But then on measure 7, they've added pedal here. That's fine, it adds contrast because of the overtones. And then at the end, measure 50, again they added pedal for overtone contrast. And now it's smearing it. And that's okay, you can smear it. You're in love, you can be smeary. And then at the end, after the fermata, you get done hearing that, you lift up the pedal with the hands at the same time. This is another piece, once you get to know it, and you can play it and you start feeling it, where you use the rubato. So you don't have to play straight eighth notes. Feel it. Just a singer would use rubato. Feel it. Don't force the rubato. I was forcing that to give you an idea, but if you get into a feeling and you want to linger on a note, that's fine, linger on it, and then you can play the other notes faster to catch up. The left hand needs to be a steady beat. Don't mess up the beat. The underlying pulse needs to be there.